wasn't born here. I was born in Missoula, Montana, and I love it over there. I moved over here with my dad in 1996. He purchased Lee Frank's Mercantile, and I've been working there for quite some time. Ever since '96, I worked there through high school and summers and after school as well. I learned quite a bit from my dad working there, and after that, I went on to school at WSU Pullman to get a degree in business entrepreneurship. With business entrepreneurship, I also learned through that program about corporate business. So not only do I know how to build small business, small economical business that you have to put your heart and soul into, I also know about how to cut off different parts of your business if they're not performing properly. If a business isn't doing what it's supposed to, if it's losing money, then you need to offload it unless it can provide a certain service to other businesses you have. So I've been through WSU Pullman Business School and came back to Tenasket for about 5 years because it was what I planned on doing with an entrepreneurship degree, was working with the family store. In the middle of that, in 2005, our store burned down, so I had the chance to rebuild a building such as that, a keystone of the community, from the ground up. In building that, we couldn't afford to build the beautiful brick building that it is, so we decided to build just a 2-in-11 2x6 structure. It was going to have just plywood siding, and then in the future we're going to put better siding on it, because we just couldn't afford to do that. The contractor we were working with, he knew that he was building a keystone of the community, and he wanted a good image for the project that he was doing, so he helped us with the finances of that. So he shouldered, I think, at least half the cost of putting the brick in, the steel structure in the brick. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because the PUD building down in Okanogan that I know that a lot of people are upset about, that grandiose Taj Mahal down there. And if that were me making those decisions to build a building like that, it definitely wouldn't have been on the ratepayers' shoulders. It would have been a much more meager, modest building. It would have been sufficient. It would have been big enough to do what we needed to do. It probably would have had a microphone system in the auditorium so that everyone could hear well. Found out last night that you really have to scream at folks. I hope I'm not too loud, or I hope I'm loud enough tonight. But I've learned through building that and through working at the store how to manage your finances, and what to invest in, what not to invest in, through failures and through good decisions. Well, after rebuilding that store and making it bigger, better, we'd actually remodeled the store before it burned down, so then we had the chance to remodel again. But I chased a love story. My fiance, she went over to Seattle area, so I followed her over there trying to maintain that relationship. And what I found in Seattle was a great job with Boeing. It provided me the chance to work in the industrial engineering department of Boeing, streamlining the 747 projects, doing methods process analyst. We would move work forward or backward in the line to put it before the seal coating or after the seal coating, before the electrical systems. I was only in the structures, starting in the wing and landing gear assembly, and then later on moving to the tail assembly. I had the opportunity of being the first one told, because I'm very close with the community. I'm very close with the community of Boeing. I had the mechanics telling me about an issue in the pressure dome, and it had been misdrilled in such a position that they couldn't fix it. So they actually had to steal a pressure dome, take a pressure dome from the next airplane down the road and put it into this one. I had my community there coming forward to me to give me this, and I presented it to my management, and they said, no, there's no problem. No, I haven't heard anything about this. And they said, well, just in case, go ahead and make a whole report on what's going on here. So I did that, and then 2 weeks down the road, it finally surfaced that there was indeed a problem, and my manager jumped right forward and said, here you go, this is what's going on. How in the world could you have this going on? Like, our people, they're in there with the mechanics, and they know what's going on. In the industrial engineering department, it was a bridge between the engineers and the mechanics, and that's really what I plan to do with being PUD commissioner. I'm in touch with the people of the county, and I found with doing this, getting around, politicking around, that I don't get down to Omak and Brewster or Twist as much as I do Tenasket and Oroville. So I plan to get around more and talk to more people. Continuing on with my life story, after going to Boeing for 3 years, I realized that seeing my friends buy property over there and houses, that's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in Okanogan County. I love Okanogan County. So I left that great job with great benefits and pay, come back over here and help my family. And I've had a good time working with my family and getting entrenched in the community. I found myself, I was the president for Kiwanis for 2 years. I was a member for a couple more years before that. Just recently, thankfully, the next president has stepped up and taken their home. And so I don't have as much involvement in that. And I'm the untechnical vice president of the Chamber of Commerce. I've been the secretary of that for quite some time, keeping track of all that and providing notes when we need to provide documents to work on other projects. So I've had about 5 years experience with the Chamber of Commerce, and we thought we were in good standing, and it turned out that we weren't paying as many bills as possible. So since then we found a better treasurer. So I've seen the ups and downs of different organizations and seen how hard it is to get back up on your feet again. Also, with working in Tenasket, I'm on the board, the commission I'm a police commissioner in Tenasket. I'm fairly new with that, so we've only hired 2 new people since then. We have a great crew there, so there's never really been no issue to fire anybody or put anyone in a review. We really do have a good police department down there. And I found that I do dearly love being involved in the community, such as my story with the Boeing and being involved in all the organizations around here. Should I become the commissioner of the PUD, I will definitely have to step back from some of my community involvement and my involvement in the store foremost. So I'd start off with just leaving that over to my brother and his wife to run the store. And if there's a chance that I can spend more than a full-time job with the PUD, then I would, possibly come back and help with the store. But first and foremost, my goals and my drive would be put into the PUD to make it as good as possible. Some of the things that I want to do with the PUD, a few people have talked about that there's no jobs for local kids to stick around here. I've found that there's not as many folks in my age bracket as I might like, and that's all right with me. I enjoy the community anyways. But I'd like to see more energy production in this county. It's a gigantic county. It's difficult to get around everywhere and throughout this side of the state. And we have plenty of property to put in projects such as solar collection grids, mirror grids with solar head coming up. I've seen one down by Vegas, and I thought that was just an amazing concept, rather than a whole bunch of solar panels, a whole bunch of mirrors, which are cheaper to build, and then one collection head up at the top, kind of like a little Space Needle system, or it looks like a Space Needle. Rather ingenious, and I've heard that's much more effective than panels. Also, as Patrick had brought up, there's natural gas up in Canada, and I think that trying to tie into Canada, does that mean 1 minute or 2? Okay. It might be a little more difficult to tie into Canada with international relationships, but there is natural gas, I don't know how far south, but south of the Okanogan County, and it would be expensive to bring it up here, the infrastructure for a pipeline, but it would also lessen the need for electric power. People could cook on gas and heat their homes with gas. Let me see if I covered everything there. Marty had brought up the carbon tax coming out of Seattle. Should that come about, I believe from what I've read of that carbon tax that every fuel in your car, every kind of fuel for off-road diesel will also be taxed. So, and also any power purchased from the BPA, even though mostly it's purchased by dams, or it comes from dams, they don't say where it's coming from. So all the power that comes in from the BPA would be taxed, and any energy that we can produce here, green, it would not be taxed, and it would be, what would that be? It would be a benefit for us anyways, such as relicensing the builder, the powering of the dam. That would greatly lower the cost to the ratepayers should that carbon tax come about. And I really think that's kind of the first of many to come, because people want green power, especially with the majority of the population being in Seattle. So as many green generating power systems as we can come up with, I think, is the better. Also vote against that initiative 732, because it's just going to up your rates. It all comes directly back to the think I've covered enough about what I want to do and where I'm from. Any questions? I think Paul, you raised your hand.
Yeah, Andy has brought up the internet speed.
Oh, the internet
What's your
speed.
position on that? That's pretty critical.
Yes, it is. We have the backbone of all the power poles, and we currently, PUD is pulling along fiber optics. So, I'm out?
So, half a minute.
Oh, half, okay. So they brought fiber optics in along their power lines. One friend I have that's, he puts in fiber optic systems as well as wireless, what's that called? Well, he uses the fiber optic grid that they have, and those little white beacons, he says that he's worked all over the state, and they don't use the white. The white, it's really uncommon. They use black, so I don't know, maybe that was more economical with white towers on power poles, but more internet speed is better, I agree. We need to get it out in more power poles.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.